So you never actually had an actual detailed map to the landscape of your genitals. And then you had kids and the terrain changed even more. And now you're trying to navigate a new map with even fewer directions, guideposts, and markers. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sex After Kids podcast. We're in my evolving studio at home. More to come, but I'm excited for the blue. Let me know what you think. All right, so today we are talking about what happens when the sex part of sex feels frustrating, flat, painful, and that ultimately just makes sex like extra thing that we need to do that we don't really care about. Or it makes us feel like we are broken. It makes us feel like we are not attracted to our partner anymore, and it's definitely not any of those things. It's not you should just try harder. It's not just drink some wine and relax and the pain will go away. It's actually something a lot more basic, a lot more simple, but also kind of frustrating that we don't know it already. The reality is that nobody, probably for most of you, ever handed you a map to your own pleasure. So you never actually had an actual detailed map to the landscape of your genitals. And then you had kids and the terrain changed even more. And now you're trying to navigate a new map with even fewer directions, guideposts, and markers. This is not just true for people with vulvas. People with penises and folks in all bodies and all genders can feel this too. The sense of being out of sync with your own body. Like, why doesn't this work the way it used to? Or why can't I get in the mood? Or why am I not wet? Or why am I not staying hard? Or why is my body shutting down? Why is it not cooperating, for lack of a better word? So in today's episode, we are going to cover why most of us never got a real map to our pleasure. Patriarchy. Why this gap hits people with vulvas especially hard post kids, but also why people with penises aren't immune, and what it really actually tangibly means to learn your own body beyond just labels and diagrams. At the end, if you are listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I need a step-by-step process to figure this out, then make sure you stick around for all the details for my Valentine's Day event. The link is in the show notes. It's called Color Me Curious, and we're going to be diving deep into everything that we are talking about today. Because you deserve structure, you deserve safety, you deserve a step-by-step process that's not just guesswork to rebuild intimacy after the terrain has changed. And if any of this sounds familiar, whether you are feeling shut down, whether you are feeling rejected, or a bit of both, I want you to stick around. So let's talk about this idea of a map. Because by map, I mean actually understanding your own anatomy. That means literally knowing all the parts and what they do and how they work. But also it means knowing how your specific arousal and pleasure works for you in your body. Having a map also means having words for what you like and how and when. And most of us don't have any of those things. We maybe get a basic fear-based sex ed about avoiding pregnancy and avoiding STIs. Hands up if you can remember the scary pictures from like 90s high school. And or we get media representations which make it look like good sex only matters or counts if it's instant, effortless, organic, and spontaneous. What we don't talk about is what kind of touch feels safe in our body, how our nerves, our hormones, our history, even stress and our trauma all intersect with desire. And we literally don't get told all the parts. Like if I asked you right now to name all the parts of the clitoris, you probably could not. So we go into adulthood with this silent, impossible expectation, right? I'm supposed to just know how to do this, and if I don't, something must be wrong with me. Then we add in pregnancy, birth, miscarriages, feeding babies at 3 a.m., the mental load, childcare, body changes like pelvic floor shifts, hormone changes, maybe medication, performance anxiety, and we still hold ourselves to the same outdated expectation. It's no wonder that the whole thing collapses under the weight of this should just be perfect and easy. For people with vulvas, this might look like or translate to pain during intercourse, numbness, dryness, not enough lubrication, or zero interest. And so then we feel guilty because our body's taking a long time, or our body's complicated, or we're a lot of work. For people with penises, it can be that erections vanish under pressure, that they don't stick around, that they're not as hard, or that we are very sensitive and we finish or come very quickly. And all of this looks like pressure of like, I should be better at this, I should just know, I should be able to please my partner, and my penis should cooperate and stay hard and be big so that I can give her everything that she wants. And the truth is that both of you never really got a map to your own bodies. And then the terrain changed. So, of course, you're standing in the middle of the desert wondering what the fuck and where you are. Nothing about this means that you are failing. It just means that nobody actually gave you the directions, and the old directions that you did muster together don't fit your new reality. So, what do we do about it? Let's make this practical. A lot of us have internet knowledge. Maybe we've read a few books. Maybe we've heard of the G spot or the P spot, or seen diagrams or heard about the prostate in men. Maybe we've even tried to follow some tips. Sometimes we stumble upon something accidental and get fireworks in the bedroom, but then we don't know what it was or how to recreate it. And so we don't end up with like consistent pleasure. So there is a difference between knowing that these spots exist versus actually finding them in your own body, actually learning what feels good for you and under what conditions. So, for example, my G spot or a G spot can respond to touch differently in the follicular phase or the early part of my menstrual cycle versus the luteal or the luteals and the later part of my menstrual cycle. So, something can feel uncomfortable the first few minutes that I stimulated, and 10 minutes later start to feel really juicy and yummy. So this goes for any kind of body and any kind of body part that we are exploring. The idea might be clear, but understanding what angle works, what speed works, what pressure works, how much warm up or time is needed before it feels good, all of these things can lead to the actual aha moments that are like the color and the detail on your map, right? So bottom line is, having an idea is not the same as actually having a relationship with those places in your body, and your partner having a relationship with the places in your body as well. You can talk about it all day, but until you give yourself actual time to explore, this is experiential learning, slowly without pressure, then you can think about it like you're just working from a brochure instead of a very detailed step-by-step map. If you want confidence, if you want the words to express what you like, then you need a map that you have actually walked yourself so that you can carry your partner along with you. Before I give you my one little takeaway that you can take to the bedroom tonight, stick around for that. I want to talk about one big myth here, and that's what I call the 3-minute myth. And this is not only the belief that desire should be spontaneous and arousal should be instant and intimacy should kind of be able to fit into quick windows between all of life's pressures, but it's also this idea that once I hit the sheets, my expectation is that within 30 seconds I am wet, juicy, and ready to go. For some people, sometimes quickies work. They're their own brand of fun. But for most of us, arousal is very responsive. And if you are already feeling overtouched or stretched thin, then the 3-minute myth is going to get you stuck, because you're going to land in the moment, immediately get disappointed that your body's not cooperating when you haven't even given it a hot minute. It's like that episode we talked about a little while ago where I said, like, if you expect yourself to just be ready on command, you're trying to take the cake out of the oven before it's ready. And then you build the story that you have no libido, or that your body's broken, or that your partner must think that you don't care, when really what's wrong is your expectations of your body, not the timeline. Most real bodies, and yes, most real parents, need more time, more slowness, more safety. And I honestly argue that this goes for penis owners too. Okay, more focus on pleasure for its own sake. We get stuck in performance mode. We've talked about this. There's already a narrative going of like, hurry, get it right, keep it going. And curious mode, if we shift into it, sounds more like, what happens if we take the pressure off and just notice what feels good? What if we don't aim for orgasm tonight and we just explore this one part of our body and see what happens? We're going to talk about how to do that in a minute. But that is how you turn accidentally landing onto a pleasure spot into reliably getting there every time without forcing your body body or your nervous system to show up. So before we wrap up, I want to give you something that you can actually take home tonight, but do let me be clear, right? What I give you here in the podcast or on this YouTube video is just a starting point. And the Color Me Curious workshop, which is happening on Valentine's Day, is actually your step-by-step walkthrough through all the awkward and the messy parts. So right now here today, I'm going to walk you through a 3-step experiment that you can start on your own. And I hope you'll join me on Valentine's Day and get the full real meal deal. So step number 1 is to pick a no pressure window. You want to find 10 minutes per person. So if you just do you today, 10 minutes where you're not utterly exhausted. You can do this exploration solo, or you can do this exploration with a partner where your partner is exploring on your body. Okay. Second, you're going to choose something that you want to explore. Maybe it's the G-spot. Maybe it's your cervix. Maybe it's the prostate. Maybe it's the anus. Maybe it's just your general vulva and labia, but you want to see what it's like to kind of experiment with this. Okay. And then you're going to explore that area with the timer set, with no intention of pleasure, just an intention of what happens when I do this. And you're going to play with pressure. So are you firm pressure or soft tickly pressure? Speed? Are you very fast? Are you very slow? And maybe even like kind of touches this long strokes, like long, slow, firm strokes, quick and tickly, quick and firm, right? We can play with a whole rainbow there. Point being that you're just going to set the timer, play around, and get curious. I want you to explore what you prefer on the rainbow of fast and slow, firm and gentle. I want you to notice what it feels like to touch that area 1 minute in, 3 minutes in, 10 minutes in. If you want to go advanced level, especially if you're a vulva owner, it's hard to see what's going on. You can put yourself in front of a mirror and actually notice how the puffiness and the color and the texture of your vulva will change as you give it time to get aroused. Third step, I guess, is like you want to debrief with yourself or with your partner. So that means once you've done your playing around, once the timer's gone off, let's talk about what we've noticed. Let's remember what we've noticed somehow, whether we make a mental note or we actually write it down somewhere, so that next time when we're playing, we can experiment with that area, but with intention and sort of incorporate it into our play. So I want you to remember that you can have 2 separate intentions for these kinds of times. You can have time where you're getting naked and the goal is orgasm and the goal is to blow each other's socks off. And you can get naked just with the intention of being like, what happens if I tickle your clitoris for an hour? That's a long time. What happens if I tickle your clitoris for 10 minutes in different ways? What can we discover and find out that we can then incorporate back into a more playtime night? Okay, that is your very simple process, but you can take away so much from allowing yourself what I call like a sexploration session, where we're noticing, where we're learning, where we are building our map, where we're adding texture, color. Think of it as like, you're a pirate and you've buried treasure somewhere on an island. And, you can just draw a super basic map, or you can be very detailed about like the hill that you're going to come across and the type of grass or the tree that you're going to pass and the rock that it's buried under, right? So if that sounds fun, go for it. Have a good time. If you were like, oh gosh, how do I even bring this up to my partner? Oh gosh, what do we do if things go sideways? Oh gosh, I don't even know what part of my body I would want to explore. Oh gosh, I need more of like a step-by-step process for figuring this out. Then I want you to join me at Color Me Curious. So it's a live date night happening on Valentine's Day. We're going to have an East Coast time and a West Coast, North America time for you to join. You can always catch the replay later. Your mic is off, your camera's off. It's just me guiding you through. We're not getting naked. We're not doing funny stuff. This is meant to be very approachable. I want you to think of this as like the most fun sex ed lesson that you have ever been to. And I want you to think of it as like a way to open up conversation with your partner because we make it silly and fun and approachable. Okay, we are going to do 3 things on that call. We are going to practice 3 of my favorite vibe setters to get you out of busy parent mode and into landed lover mode. We are going to do color by number anatomy. So we're going to color in that map and give you the starting points for what you can explore. And we're going to trade hand or foot massages and practice how to give feedback without feeling like an asshole, so that when you're in the bedroom, you can speak up with more confidence. All of that plus bonuses on how to schedule sex that doesn't suck, how to deal with hard feelings when they come up, and so much more is yours for $27. Grab it in the show notes. Join me on Valentine's Day. Catch the replay later if you want. And let me know if you tried the activity in the podcast here, how it went. I always love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here, and we will catch you next week.